Eric from The Boy Who Could Fly represents a level 2 because he requires substantial support. He was socially impaired, and that was even with the support system in place. And he had limited interaction, so he rarely made eye contact, and he had some stimming techniques where he would act like he was flying. He learned that when his parents died in a car or in a plane crash, and he would use that as a means to just step away from reality for a bit. He had some nonverbal communication ability and would copy Amelia and smile back at her sometimes. Eric was portrayed as being a teenage boy living with autism. He did not have the social skills necessary to carry on a conversation, which resulted in him being pretty lonely throughout the film, even at home, because his uncle never really took care of him because he was a drunk. So I would say that he was portrayed as being pretty calm despite some scenes where he had to be held down, but that was more so because they were holding him against his will. Yes, it was consistent with what we have learned, despite the fact that he did all the flying. I think that was very theatrical. I learned that every kid is different, though, and in the movie, Eric had like social anxiety and didn't really like to interact with people, so he was on the calmer side of the spectrum. So yes, I first watched this movie when I was young, and I never realized that Eric had autism. I thought he was just a special boy with hidden talents. Now that I know he has autism, I'm not sure that it depicted what life is really like with ASD. I think that he would need more care and more watching over, not like his uncle did. And I would try my best to make people with autism feel comfortable around me, kind of like Amelia did by interacting with Eric and giving him confidence to try new things, like playing with the ball in gym class, or reading to him, or even just making him smile or laugh. The second character is Arnie from What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and he would be placed as a level 3 because he required substantial support from his brother Gilbert. He engages in very dangerous behaviors and is not aware of how dangerous they actually are, and he would get sad very easily because he wasn't sure like what people were telling him and would take things the wrong way. And he had the habit of making some hand movements when he felt uncomfortable in situations. So he was portrayed as being mentally disabled. When he was born, they said he wouldn't live past the age of 10, which made him sound worse off than he actually was. He did have some repetitive speech, which would make him seem like he would listen to you, but then he would just keep saying the same things that he would say in the first place. He had a habit of climbing the tower, so there's the repetitive behaviors. And despite the bathroom scene where Gilbert gets angry at Arnie, the whole family is always really, really nice to him and defending him, even when he gets put in jail for climbing the tower. So yes, I think Leonardo DiCaprio did a great job of portraying a person living with autism. Arnie breaks the rules, and he was always running away, but he had a special charm to him that made everyone love him. Arnie's sister would get frustrated with him sometimes, but I think that just showed the reality of raising a child with autism. Not every child is alike, and I think that Arnie displayed the characteristics that a level 3 would represent. If my only exposure to ASD was the movie, then I think that that people with autism are very playful and outgoing. But in the course, I learned that that's not always the case, and there's many people with ASD that do not like social interaction, and it makes them feel uncomfortable. I would also think that they all love taking risks as much as Arnie did. He was, like, fearless. And based solely on the movie, I would try my best to interact with people with ASD just how Gilbert did. He was so patient and understanding of Arnie's condition, and I think that's what made their relationship so good. Gilbert rarely took things seriously and was always there to comfort Arnie when he felt sad or uncomfortable.